So good morning, everyone. Today our topic of discussion would be small round blue cell tumors. So these tumors are very aggressive neoplasm comprising of undifferentiated cells with scant indistinct cytoplasm and high NC ratio. Now these are characterized by typical histological pattern, immunohistochemical, molecular profiling, and electron microscopy features. So when the tumor comes to us, how do we diagnose these tumors? First would be the clinical findings. So depending on the age, sex, size of the tumor in the clinical presentation, followed by the radiology, then the pathology that comprises of cytology, the gross findings, the histopath findings, and electron microscopy if possible, immunohistochemistry and molecular genetics wherever possible. So now there's a list of all the tumors that are present in different age groups. So we'll be discussing them in brief, all of them. For example, small cell tumor of lung in elderly, 2 Wilms tumor in children, and having sarcoma in adults. Now adults will be from young adults to middle-aged ones, and tumors of any age. Now it was observed that most of the tumors were embryonal, then they were followed by soft tissue, hematopoietic, and other neuroendocrine or melanoma kind of tumors. All these tumors have a common cytology, that is, they comprise of small round malignant cells with hyperchromatic to vesicular to finely granular nuclei and indistinct cytoplasm. Either they will be arranged in rosettes, singly scattered, or in clusters. So now when it comes to rosettes, what are rosettes? Rosettes are just this cluster arrangement of the cells around a central hub. Now this central hub can be either empty, or they can be filled with neurofibrillary matrix, or can be around a blood vessel. So depending on that, they are characterized as true rosettes or pseudo rosettes. Now true rosettes have either empty lumen, but the pseudo rosettes have neurofibrillary matrix or neuropil around the cells around the neuropil, or the cells around the vessel wall. So true rosettes, for example, true ependymal rosettes like an ependymoma, flexner intestinal rosettes characteristic of retinoblastoma, homerite rosettes in care of neuroblastoma, and perivascular pseudo rosettes as well. It's a non-specific one in medulloblastomas, etc. And pineocytomas for its name, and neurocetic rosettes, which are similar to the homerite rosettes. It's just that these cells are more matured than the undifferentiated homerite, and they are larger cells. Now, first come the pediatric tumors. In pediatric tumors, first we'll be commenting on CNS embryonal tumors. So it will be just short and just brushing up the memory, because it has already been covered in previous lectures. So first come the medulloblastoma, which is the most common malignant tumor found in the fourth ventricle of children. Comes with cerebral signs like ataxia and form of clumsiness, ocular signs, as well as hydrocephalus signs, that is nausea and vomiting. Classified on the basis of histology and molecular, like classic type, desmoplastic with extensive nodularity and large cell, molecularly defined by the molecular profiling like WNT activated, SHH activated with P53 mutant, with P53 wild type, and non-WNT and non-SHH. On radiography, they look like solid, intense contrast enhancing lesion, and a characteristic of extensive nodularity looks like bunch of grape appearance. Gross finding, there are well circumscribed graping, soft friable masses with areas of necrosis. And when you look at the microscopy, different type have different microscopy. Like in classical, you have highly cellular anaplastic cells with homerite rosettes and stacked linear array cells, while with giving focal positivity for synaptophysin and GFAP. Now the desmoplastic type have pale islands and island nodules with internodular undifferentiated cells, which will be reticulin, excess of reticulin, and will show positivity for NSE. Now comes the extensive nodularity. These are also the nodules, but these are just larger and elongated nodules with stream of small round cells, strong positivity for mu N and high MIB1 index. The large cells, which have typical large cells and prominent nucleoli, and the characteristic tumor cell wrapping, that is the cell wrapping around another tumor cell. Also comes a biphasic with histological features of desmoplastic, lacking the typical desmoplasia of the desmoplastic type, but the clinical and molecular features are of that of classic or anaplastic medulloblastoma. Now also comes the myogenic and melanotic differentiation of medulloblastomas with striated muscle fibers positive for antifast myosin, and rhabdomyoblast positive for myoglobin, also because of melanotic HMB45 positive. In the molecular, when there is GAP1 and YAP1 both are positive, this indicates that the tumors are SHH type of tumors. If the only beta-catenin is positive, they are WNT tumors, and if they are not positive for either of the three, they will be non-WNT or non-SHH tumors. So this is what I've explained: classical type, desmoplastic type with extensive nodularity and large cell. Now comes the atypical teratoid rhabdoid tumor, comprising 1 to 2% of CNS tumors. The characteristic loss of expression of SMARCB1 protein. On radiograph, typical enhanced, heterogeneously enhancing lesion at the cerebellum. Gross with, you can see this tumor with areas of hemorrhage. And on microscopy, you see two types of cells: the rhabdoid cells with vesicular chromatin and the typical primitive cells with scan cytoplasm. When you look at the immunohistochemistry, they are negative for there's loss of SMARCB1 expression. So for the internal control, there is intertumoral vessel positivity. Now comes the embryonal tumors with multi-layered rosettes, with what it names indicates, multi-layered rosette cells around either a central lobe or the slate-like lumen, which will be overexpression of the Lin28A expression. Now the other CNS embryonal tumors, only the names: CNS neuroblastoma with FOXR2 activation, cribriform neuroepithelial tumor, CNS embryonal tumor NOS, and CNS tumor with beak or internal tandem lubrication. Now the plenioblastomas, these are also high-grade tumors of the pineal parenchyma, characteristic DICER1 gene mutation with Perinaut syndrome. There is just upward gait palsy with lid retraction and conversion weakness. Grossly located in the pineal area, that is from the pineal gland. It's a well-demarcated tumor infiltrating the other structures as well. And when you look at the microscopy, you see typical small cells with numerous mitotic figures, Homer type of rosettes, and florets are also seen. Positive for synaptophysin, but would give negative for the glial markers. Now the pituitary blastoma, you can see there's a well-defined tumor in the pituitary area. These are just rare tumors occurring in first 2 years of age group with Cushing's syndrome and ophthalmoplegia. And you'll have three kind of cells, would be small embryonal blue cells with secretory cells and epithelial cells. So tumors will be expressing synaptophysin chromogranin and molecularly will be expressing DICER1 mutation. Now comes the retinoblastomas, which is very important. These tumors present in the age of 16 months to 2 years, having a male equal predilection in both the genders, intraocular location, and presenting as orbital masses bilaterally in 30%. Typical white eye reflex that we call as leukocoria is present in these tumors. When you look at the radiography, you see heterogeneous retinal mass with calcifications. And when the gross is noted, there are three type of tumors in retinoblastomas, either endophytic, exophytic, and diffuse type, having typically creamy, white, and chalky areas of calcification and necrosis. So there is various morphology in this. Now you see these tumors having typical Homeritum flexner rosettes in the blue cells. Now because there is increase in the cell, so they are not getting the nutrition from it. So these cells are viable around the vessel, and there will be necrosis in the other side. So this is also characteristic basophilic deposition in the vessel wall because of the DNA, that is the azopardic phenomena. And the florets are also noted in these tumors, showing positivity for synaptophysin NSC NS100. On electron microscopy, characteristic florets contains numerous mitochondria that you can see. Now comes the neuroblastomas. Neuroblastomas are the third most common extracranial solid tumor of the children, arising from the primitive neural crest cells, mostly present in the adrenal gland, about 40%, and has a hematogenous spread to the bone and the bone marrow. Now you can see there is irregularly shaped lobulated mass. When you look at the gross, it's variable look on the gross, and which is circumscribed ovoid mass with multilobulated tumor, and you also see hemorrhagic areas because it's a very vascular tumor. So when you look at the microscopy, there will be you can see well differentiated cells or poor differentiated cells. So in well differentiated, you see more homerdite type of rosettes with incomplete septa differentiating them, and also the alveolar type of pattern. And the poorly differentiated, you see solid sheets, diffuse sheets of the neuroblast, and give positivity for Ki67, GFAP, and synaptophysin. On electron microscopy, characteristic interdigitating processes, microtubules, and neurosecretory granules are present in neuroblastomas. Now comes the Wilms tumor. Wilms tumor arises from the nephrogenic rest. These are the precursor lesions of that, with female preponderance, and patient presenting with abdominal mass, abdominal pain, hematuria, hypertension, and characteristic WT1 gene mutation at the chromosome 11. So these are few syndromes which are associated with this, that is VAGR, Wilms tumor, that is aniridia, genitourinary anomalies, and mental retardation, then is Drash syndrome, and so on and so forth. These tumors present a large hypoenhancing heterogeneous masses arising from the left kidney. It is difficult to differentiate from neuroblastoma, so we have to do MRI diffusion studies to differentiate them. Grossly, you see large solitary spherical masses with gray-white or pink-gray in color, sharply demarcated from the renal parenchyma. So in pre-treated cases of these tumors, hemorrhage and necrosis are also seen. Fine needle aspiration is not recommended in Wilms tumor. So when you look at the microscopy, you see three types of elements. So the first would be the blastemal elements, which is the least differentiated elements, comprising of the small to medium-sized undifferentiated cells and numerous mitotic figures, arranged either in diffuse sheets, serpentine manner, or nodular pattern. The second would be the epithelial. So with its name, these are also poorly differentiated. But when it is poorly differentiated, you see rosette formation. If it's moderately differentiated, you see tubules and papillary pattern. And when it's a well differentiated, you see glomeruli-like structure. So you can see may contain squamous and mucinous epithelium as well. Now the stromal element, there will be undifferentiated to differentiated areas. You can see cells with no clear cell borders, oval to spindle-shaped nuclei. When it comes to immunohistochemistry, all these three elements show different immunohistochemistry. Blastomal cells will be positive for WT1, epithelium would be positive for cytokeratin and EMA, and stroma will be positive for vimentin. Molecularly, INI is retained to differentiate with other small round cell tumors. Now comes the hepatoblastomas. Hepatoblastomas usually present with abdominal enlargement, mass or pain, and anorexia and weight loss. When you look at the radiography, you see well-defined mass with regular borders. And on grossly, you see it can be either single or multinodular. Necrosis and hemorrhage are present generally in the post-treatment specimens. You see tan brown cut surface with variegated appearance. Microscopy, like any other small round cell tumor, you see small and differentiated cells with mitosis, apoptosis, positive for beta-catenin, glutamine, and synthase. When there are high-risk tumors, they show upregulation of this molecule, that is NFE12 activity, and if they are low-risk tumors, there is LIN28B overexpression. Now comes the rhabdomyosarcomas. These are the most common soft tissue sarcomas that are present in children. So with its name, rhabdo, that is the cell of origin is skeletal muscle progenitors, can be classified into three types, that is the embryonal rhabdomyosarcoma, alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, and pleomorphic rhabdomyosarcoma. When you look at radiography, you see soft tissue density. So embryonal will be more homogeneous, while alveolar and pleomorphic will have areas of necrosis with ring enhancement. When you look at the gross, embryonal will be poorly circumscribed mass with wide, firm to soft infiltrative margins. Also a variant of it, that is a botryoid variant, very important, resembles a cluster of grapes appearance. Will have fleshy nodular polypidal projections, just like nasal polyps. The alveolar type of rhabdomyosarcoma is also flesh tan gray tumor. And the pleomorphic would be, pleomorphic are generally confined to the facial compartment and assume the shape of the muscle. So they are the 7 to 30 centimeters and have wide cut surface with variable areas of hemorrhage and necrosis. So now the first one, the embryonal one, will have round or spindle-shaped cells and differentiated type of cells with more eosinophilic cytoplasm. The alveolar will be arranged in alveolar pattern, and the small cells are discohesive. Now the pleomorphic will have sheets of large or typical cells. Also along with it, you see undifferentiated type of blue cells. The characteristic of the botryoid variant, that is the cambium layer, that is subepithelium collection of the small round blue cells. When you look at immunohistochemistry, all these variants show positivity for desmin, myodibin, or myogenin. Now comes the melanotic neuroectodermal tumor of infancy, which is a rare tumor presenting as heterogeneously enhancing soft tissue mass in the area of maxilla. When you look at the gross, these actually tumors are rapidly growing in infants and can be associated with elevated VMA, that is vanillin mandelic acid, and the lesions are gray to blue, firm and lobulated masses. And when you look at the microscopy, you have biphasic population. So you have nodules or small round cells which are positive for synaptophasin and NSE, and you see large epithelioid cells arranged in cords and nests which have melanin in them. So that will be HMB45 positive against a dense fibrotic background. Now comes the non-pediatric tumors. The first will be small cell osteosarcoma. So these grossly look like conventional osteosarcoma. So the microscopy is only the way to rule out it from the conventional type. These are just a subtype of osteogenic sarcoma that we know, presenting as painful enlarging masses with pathological fractures. When you look at the gross, you see intermedullary permeative growth and cortical destruction. And when you look at the microscopy, you see uniform population of these round cells with focal production of osteoid in between them, will show positivity for SAT2 in S100. And the desmoplastic small round cell tumors. These are high-grade tumors occurring in the abdominal cavity with multiple serosal implants. Children and young adults actually at the peak of third decade presented with these tumors which have a male predominance. Radiologically, what you see unenhanced type of happinating masses into the peritoneal surface in an omentum, may show foci of calcification. So on gross, you see multiple nodules with grayish-white cut surface and focus of hemorrhage and necrosis. And on microscopy, with its name, desmoplasia will be sharp demarcated nest with hypervascular desmoplastic stroma and the central necrosis. Now will show positivity for WT1 and desmin. And the characteristic EWSR-WT1, just like in Ewing sarcoma, will also be detected by the PCR. Now, the myxoid small cell liposarcoma, these are well circumscribed and multinodular masses. So low grade will have a more gelatinous cut surface compared to the high grade, which will be more solid and fleshy. Microscopy of low grade, you see this myxoid background against the, because of its name, lipos, it will be adipocytes with fine capillary network. But when you look at the high grade, you see hypercellular solid sheets of these round cells. Will show positivity for vimentin, and when we do fish, there will be FUS, characteristic FUS DDI-T3 fusion. Now there's also this tumors like WHO classification of undifferentiated small round cell tumor of bone and soft tissue. So these are all the tumors: Ewing sarcoma, round cell sarcoma, CIC, rearranged sarcoma, and sarcoma with BCOR genetic alterations, but we'll be only focusing on the Ewing sarcoma. So these have characteristic chromosomal translocation involving the EWSR1 and ETS gene. The cells of origin generally are the mesenchymal stem cells, aging from predominantly in the second decade. Male are predominantly affected, and pelvis, femur, collarbone are the bones that are affected. Clinically, they stimulate osteomyelitis, so they present with pain and swelling with painful and large masses and pathologic fractures. When you look at the radiography, you see cortical thickening and widening of the medullary cavity, typical onion skin appearance. And when you look at the gross, there is grayish tan tumor with infiltrative margins. Also, the areas of hemorrhage and necrosis are also noted. So in Ewing sarcoma, there are three types. That is either typical Ewing sarcoma or typical Ewing's and PNET. PNET is just like Ewing sarcoma, but present mostly in the soft tissues. So typical Ewing sarcoma have a more uniform cell compared to the typical PNET with irregular cell. More finely stippled chromatin in typical, but coarse chromatin in the other two. Rosettes are present in PNET, but the glycogen is abundant in typical Ewing sarcoma. So now you see tumor arranged in sheet-like growth pattern with multiple mitotic figure and flexnum insta type of rosettes. Also, you see positive for Vimentin. Now, this is the CD99 positivity. And because of the abundant glycogen, we also do pass with diastase. Now, when you look at the electron microscopy features, so the organelles, dense co-granules, neurotubules, and neurotic process are abundant in peanut, while they are rare or scarce in the classical and or typical type of weaving. The characteristic EWSR1 FLI fusion present in 85 to 90% of cases, which is followed by the EWSR1 ERG fusion, and rarely the ETV1 and ETV4 and FEV fusions also seen. Now comes the Merkel cell carcinoma, which is an uncommon neuroendocrine tumor of the dermis. So this is an aggressive tumor caused by Merkel cell polyoma virus. Up to 80% of patients of Merkel cell carcinoma have this cause, and minority of them are due to UV, ultraviolet radiations. When you look at them grossly, they're just hypernucleating masses. And gross is a fleshy to tan brown lesion with nodular or ill-defined silhouette. So they have variable ulceration. When you look at the microscopy, you see that this is the epidermis and the dermis. Now you see this expansile nodular diffuse infiltrated tumor within the dermis with mitosis and apoptotic bodies show positivity for broad spectrum keratins. So this polyoma virus would be positive, but if it's not positive, they harbor more of TP53 and RB1 gene mutations. Now comes a small cell melanoma. Just like any other melanoma, the ABCDE of melanoma, the asymmetry, the irregular borders, the difference in colors. When you look at microscopy of it, you see it's a very rare type of melanoma, small cell melanoma. So there's dense segregation of small cell in the dermis, which will be HMB45. It can be confused with a lymphoma as well. So you have to put the markers like HMB45 and CD45. Now the mesenchymal chondrosarcomas. They are most commonly present in bone and soft tissues or intracranial sites with jaw predominance up to 50% as a painful mass. When you look at the radiograph, you see heterogeneous lobulated destructive lesion. On gross, they are just well delineated circumscribed tumor with zonal white or tan pink solid component. Microscopy, the round cells, which are CD99 positive, and the cartilage in the bones will show S100 positivity. The characteristic pericytoid vascular arrangement, that is, the cells are arranged around the vessel. So they also previously were called as hemangiopericytoma-like tumors, but now they have given the name as mesenchymal chondrosarcoma. Now comes the synovial sarcoma. Don't go by its name. The cell of origin is not synovial cell. The still studies are going on what is the origin of this tumor, can occur anywhere in the body with primary site in the extremities, especially the popliteal fossa presenting as round to oval lobulated masses. When you look at the gross, well circumscribed multinodular tumor around 3 to 10 centimeters and have a tan or gray, yellow or pink, soft to firm in consistency with myxoid changes, necrosis and calcification. It's a highly cellular tumors with frequent mitotic activity. Characteristic geographic necrosis is seen, and the important fusion that is to be noted is SYT SSX1 fusion is in this type of tumor. Now the small cell carcinoma of lung. Occurring in old age, male predominance, especially predisposing factor would be smoking, presenting as central or hilar masses, which are white, tan or soft with peripheral nodules and fleshy cut surface. When you look at the microscopy, you see round oval blue cells with municipal cytoplasm, and also fusiform shaped ovoid cells are also seen. But they show positivity for synaptophysin, chromogranin or CD56. The characteristic TTF1 is also noted. Now the olfactory neuroblastomas. Now these tumors present in the cerebriform plate as a dumbbell-shaped mass, locally aggressive. Now grossly you see this glistening surface as well. So these are polypoid masses with glistening surface, and cut surface would be hypervascularized, grayish tan to pinkish. Now there are other two type of these tumors, either low grade or high grade. So low grade will have more nests and lobules of these blue cells with homerite type of rosettes, but the high grade would have solid growth pattern with flexner type of rosettes. So there is called something called Ham's grading, which grades these tumors into 1 to 4. So depending on the architecture, the mitotic activity, nuclear pleomorphism, and fibrillary matrix and rosettes. Shows positivity for NSC, synaptophysin, and chromogranin. Now the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, our favorite, that is the CLL or the SLL. So grossly you see, these are 7% of all the non-Hodgkin's lymphomas. So grossly you see multiple nodules. This is cut section of spleen. So multiple nodules will be grayish white to fleshy. And microscopy you see like any other small round cell, small round blue cells. So you have to put CD5 and CD30 to rule out this. So now there are so many of these small round cells. So how do you differentiate these small round cells? The best way and the easiest way that we could afford also is immunohistochemistry. So what we do is we first put pan-cytokeratin marker. So if it turns out to be negative, then we go with CD45. Its positivity will indicate lymphoma. If not, we go with EMA. It's if even again EMA is negative, we'll go with HMB45. Its positivity will rule out the melanoma. If not, go with Vimentin. Vimentin and Desmin positivity will rule out the rhabdomyosarcoma. If Vimentin is also negative, go with our favorite synaptophysin and chromogranin, and its positivity will give you the diagnosis of neuroblastomas. Now, pan-cytokeratin, and also remember the Desmin negative, again you have to go with synaptophysin and chromogranin, whose positivity will rule out the Ewing sarcoma and negative will rule out the PNET. Now, if pan-cytokeratin is positive, so there are only a few differentials. Go with put Desmin marker. If Desmin is positive, go with desmoplastic small round cell tumor. And its negativity, again put the synaptophysin and chromogranin, whose positivity will give the Merkel cell carcinoma. Now this is small, just table, pan-cytokeratin positivity ruling out small cell carcinoma, S100 for the melanoma, CD45 for the lymphoma, Desmin positivity for rhabdomyosarcoma and desmoplastic small round cell tumor, NB84 for neuroblastoma characteristic, and PAX5 for lymphoma, rhabdomyosarcoma, and neuroblastomas. To summarize all this, all small round cell tumors have almost the same morphology. Just the differential diagnosis will depend on the site and the age group of the tumors, and you have to correlate the histomorphology, immunohistochemistry, and molecular profiling if possible to rule out the differential diagnosis. I would like to end with the diagnostic power of any immunohistochemical procedure is no greater than the wisdom of pathologists interpreting it. These are the references that have been taken to present this. Thank you.